Yo everybody, what is popping? Welcome back to another video. It's me, your boy Justin, and with today, I'm going to be reacting to X Virus Draw My Life by Creepypasta by Draw My Life Tic Tac. Now they've been kind of spooky a bit, but they're actually pretty good. Make sure you guys go subscribe to Draw My Life Tic Tac. Link will be in the description below. And without any further ado, let's get started. Again, I gotta turn the volume down.
Welcome to a new Draw My Life video. In this occasion, we have the adaptation of a new also has a very special relation to one of your favorite characters. If you want to know who, you'll have to be brave and wait till the end of this dark story. Let's begin. My real name is Cody, and since the very beginning, I've always been an unwanted kid. I never knew who my father was, and my mother was a criminal, too busy with her scheming to worry about me. She left me for days, sometimes weeks, so I soon got used to being alone. I've never had friends. One day, a social worker arrived and took me away from my irresponsible mother to take me to an orphanage. In the beginning, I didn't really care much. In fact, it was the perfect chance to start from scratch and start socializing with other kids my same age.
Wow.
But I don't know why everything went wrong. Nobody liked me, and they all intimidated me. I would sit in a chair and wouldn't talk to anybody. I was afraid to. I got used to the idea that I wasn't normal and that I didn't fit anywhere. Suddenly, one day, they told me to pack because I was gonna be adopted. I was really surprised. Who was gonna adopt a 13-year-old boy? People usually prefer younger and cuter kids. Plus, I was a weirdo. It was obvious. I was even more surprised when they took me to a big and luxurious mansion. More than I had ever seen. I settled in my room, and some days went by until I finally met my new father. He was the chief scientist in a big laboratory that studied the behavior of virus. Because of his job, he couldn't spend much time at home either, and I started to reawaken old ghosts from the past. In order to avoid this, I started showing interest in his investigations, and I even started helping him in his own lab. He returned the favor by explaining to me how everything worked and the amazing destructive power viruses have. Just as him, I started keeping a work journal where I draw sketches and wrote down formulas. All this took up a lot of my school time, and when I did go, my classmates treated me as a weirdo. When I was 17, I had learned so much about virus that I decided to start carrying out my own experiments. I used rats and other animals, and usually all tests ended with the death of the subject. When they died, they emitted high noises, a kind of suffocation, as if their lungs were about to explode. It was an incredible moment. I wondered what sounds human would make, but each time I talked about this with somebody, they said I was sick and I should look for help. However, I didn't give up. One day, when I was with my father at work, I was left alone and took advantage of the situation by filling up a syringe with a very lethal virus. That same night, while everybody was sleeping, I put on a black jacket and blue jeans and went down to the basement. I had my baseball bat, and by coincidence, I found a jar with used and rusty nails. I nailed some of them and so created a simple but mortal weapon. In another drawer, I found an old gas mask and some blue welder glasses. Once I had it all, I went out to the darkest neighborhood in town. I chose a house randomly, an old and ramshackle house, and I went inside. It wasn't difficult to end the lives of everybody in there, thanks to my improved bat. But I saved the last person, a 50-year-old man. I immobilized him and injected the virus I had stolen. I waited till it had spread all around his body. The man barely complained. He was terrified. After a while, he started groaning out loud, groans that sounded like those of animals, and suddenly he fell on the floor. He was dead, and I couldn't help but smile. I had finally lived that moment. When I went back home, my father was waiting for me, awake. I decided to tell him what I had done, hoping as a scientist he would share my desire for investigating. But instead, he was horrified and wanted to call the police. He looked at me with the same expression of disgust as my classmates. When he grabbed the phone, I took the opportunity to smash his head with my bat. I left running towards the research lab, where I sneaked in thanks to the accreditation I had stolen from my father. I grabbed a bag and started filling it up with syringes and virus samples of all kinds. I had decided to escape, but before doing so, I went around that dirty neighborhood of the town to try out some of my new acquisitions. After that, I needed some refuge, so I went into the woods. After some time walking, I found someone. I tried to sight him in the darkness, and I saw a boy wearing orange glasses and a muzzle covering his mouth. He was wearing a gray hoodie with a dark blue hood, and he had 2 axes with him. I didn't know if he had seen me, so I hid behind a tree, but when I looked again, he wasn't there anymore. I looked in another direction, and suddenly I saw him face to face, really close to me. "Get out of there. I know you. You have nothing to hide." It didn't seem like he wanted to attack me, so I went, and horrified, I asked who he was. "My name is Toby." I wanted to say my name, Cody, but instead, something different came out of my mouth. X-Virus. "Nice to meet you, X-Virus. Now, come with me." He started walking, and I followed him, without even imagining I had found a great friend. My blood brother.
Okay, that's not scary at all. That looks pretty good.
If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to...
That was actually kind of terrifying, but also pretty good. And they actually do pretty good with jump scares. But guys, we are going to be reacting to one more. That's right, one more. And that one more is Jeff the Killer. Crap. Commercials again, I hate them.
I think the sketchy
Oh my God.
website I bought...
Okay, here we go. See how creepy this one is.
Welcome to a new Draw My Life video. Jeff the Killer is the protagonist of one of the most famous creepypasta on the internet. He was born after the appearance in forums of a disturbing picture in 2008. These creepypastas are short horror stories, collected and shared on the internet, intended to scare or disturb readers. The name comes from the word copypasta, which is used to describe how these stories are copied and pasted by users in discussion forums. Even though the real origin of the story is unknown, a lot of people believe it started in 4chan, one of the most famous and biggest forums on the internet. There, a little girl called Katie Robinson shared a picture of herself in her bedroom. It didn't take long for offensive comments to appear, teasing her because of her weight, etc. This girl ended up committing suicide because of the bullying she suffered. It is said that this picture was the one used to inspire the terrifying image of Jeff, turned into a meme right away. After all of this, the snowball effect did its work. The story started growing because of forum users. They started speculating about a fictitious origin of the gloomy character. By chance, the story starts just like Katie's, an innocent child named Jeff who suffered bullying at school. As a teenager, he moved to a different village with his family, trying to escape from the abuse. There, he's attacked by 3 boys he didn't know who tried to rob him. But Jeff, under an uncontrollable rage, brutally beats them up. His brother Liu, who was with him, was indicted and jailed. Sometime after this, when things were starting to go back to normal, Jeff was invited to a birthday party at his neighbor's. Surprisingly, the boys who tried to rob him showed up looking for revenge. Jeff kills 2 of them, but the 3rd one covers him up with bleach and alcohol and sets him up on fire. After the attack, he starts losing his mind. He burns his eyelids so he can see his face every time he looks in a mirror, and he cuts his cheeks so he always looks like he's smiling. He finds himself beautiful. His mother went to the bathroom following the sounds Jeff was making and looked at him, completely transformed. Scared, she ran to her room looking for her husband and telling him to grab his shotgun. Jeff, before they could do anything, stabs them to death. Shortly after, he does the same to his brother Liu. And this is how the story of Jeff the Killer was born, an assassin who enters houses when people are sleeping and takes as many human lives as possible. This creepypasta has derived into several incarnations of Jeff, all of them following the original story, with recurring characters such as Jane the Killer, the nemesis of Jeff. The story Twisted as no other has become viral, and it has been adapted even to a video game. The famous meme still appears on the internet even as avatar pictures for users. Along with Slenderman, Jeff the Killer is one of the most famous characters in the darkest side of the internet.
Oh!
If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like.
Oh my god. That jump scare was way more terrifying than the X-Virus one. Holy crap. Well, that was kind of terrifying too. And I'm pretty sure he said go to sleep. And yeah, that was actually terrifying. But anyway guys, thank you guys so much for watching. If you did, make sure you leave a like and subscribe. And leave and click the bell to get notified. And let me know if you guys want to see more of these videos. And I will react to new ones too when they come out. And yeah guys, I'll see you guys all next time. This is your boy Justin, signing